Northampton and Munster trade blows as they battle out for top spot in Pool 3. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. This one was a very entertaining game, back and forth between the teams, and both teams really going for it, trying to get, the win that would basically seal, the top spot in this pool that, was tight between them up to now. And first 10 minutes, both teams are probing for openings. Defence on top, though, forcing knock-ons, winning turnovers, that kind of thing. Saints then, they find some space on the right, put in a clever kick in behind, and it results in a 5-metre attacking scrum as Munster took it back over the line. Saints then win a free kick at the scrum. They go to the forwards, who suck in the defence on the right before they then spin it left, and Seabrook goes over in the corner. Finn Smith starts his conversion attempt to the right of the post, but it never comes back in. It's 5 points to nil. Saints then work it back into 22. I think Hafard knocks on, and Munster able to relieve pressure. And it feels like, Munster, they've got to produce something, and they do not long after. Murray puts a kick over the top of the Saints defence from just inside his own half. Nash then shows some real gas to beat Mitchell to the ball. Like, Mitchell had a decent head start on him. Volleys it on his knee and then gets to the ball to ground for the try. Converted for 7 points to nil. Munster in the lead. Munster then work it into the 22 from a line out. They have a penalty advantage, and we do come back for that after the move breaks down. Crowley makes it 10 points to 5. Lovely hands then from Fleuler, puts Barron through a gap and into the 22. Munster 5 metres out. They go wide to Nash, and he gets over for his second try. Conversion is missed, 15 points to 5. Northampton then with another good kick in behind, and that tactic for most of the game really worked out well for them. And Haley gets there first, but his clearance is half charged down by Seabrook. Tom Lockett then steals the line out for Saints, but as they look to attack, they concede a penalty for a neck roll. We then have a scrum penalty for Northampton, and that allows them to go up the line back into the 22. They won another penalty and they kick that to the corner, battering away at the line with penalty advantage. Munster get a warning for the number of penalties given away. They're told next one's going to the bin. Northampton tapped the penalty almost straight away. Advantage for high tackle by Coombs. We then eventually come back. Coombs goes to the bin. Clock is in the red, and Saints kick to the corner. And you feel like, this is a big moment in the game, because Munster have a decent lead, but, it feels like if they can hold out here, maybe, it's going to give them enough in the second half. But they don't. Saints set up the maul. It's going forward. Backs come in to help. They work it up to the line, and then Langdon scores at the back. Smith converts for 15 points to 12 at half time, and Northampton having that real boost, going in at the break. Second half then, Northampton trying to get territory to take advantage of the extra man, while Coombs is in the bin, but handling errors costing them, in that early period. Munster win a scrum penalty, and that allows them to go up the line into Northampton half. They go to the maul on the edge of the 22 before they spread it, making progress close to the line, but then Jaeger is stripped and Saints are able to run the ball out. Northampton then back in the Munster half, and Hutchison puts in a grubber in behind, really nicely weighted kick deep into the Munster 22. Crowley gathers the ball, avoids Hutchison's tackle, and then puts in a really nice clearance kick. And you've just seen really good kicking from both sides at this stage. And I thought Crowley, one of his better games certainly this season. He's been in very mixed form this season, but this was certainly a decent performance from him. Northampton then worked the ball back into the 22, but just as they look like they've created a bit of space, they knocked the ball on. Saints then seem to have an overlap on the right, but then Murray comes up, great tackle from him, halts momentum initially, but then Saints recycle, they go left, Smith feeds Ram, and he gives a long pass out to Seabrook, who finishes in the corner. And that all started as well from a kick where it was another dab through actually, and it was Kilgannon spilled it, and then it just gave Northampton that position into 22. Conversion is missed, 17 points to 5. Saints back in the lead. Tadhg then gets in over the ball looking to steal it. He's legal. He does get his hands on the ball, but then he loses his footing, so he concedes a penalty. Finn Smith kicks that to the corner. Northampton then claimed the line out, set up the maul. They're making ground, but Munster managed to halt them. So Saints, they get the ball out, get it to Finn Smith. Lovely little fingertip tip-on pass to Ram, who comes on a lovely line to go over for the bonus point try. Convert for 24 points to 15, and Saints definitely in the ascendancy at this time. Munster then, looking to hit back, they win a penalty at breakdown. It's straight in front, and Crowley pops it over to bring them back within a score, but they don't deal with the restart and concede a penalty pretty much straight away. And Smith is able to restore the margin at 27 points to 18. Munster then win a scrum penalty. Up the line they go. They spread it from the maul. Farrell knocks on though as they're looking like they might have stretched that Saints defence. Saints then look to counter with no one at home for Munster, but Coombs gets a hand to the kick, and from there, then Nash counters well before Crowley puts a kick through that is grounded by Saints, and they're able to clear. But you can see now Munster now are the ones beginning to apply the pressure. Munster work it back into 22. Murray keeping up a high tempo. I thought he had an excellent game as well. He gives an inside ball to Kilgannon, who shakes off a tackle and goes under the post. Crowley converts for 27 points to 25. Northampton then, they strike off a line out. They go off the top, move it in field, and then immediately go back inside, and they put Seabrook in between that gap between the end of the line out and the tail gunner. They just obviously it looks like a completely set move where they'd noticed that maybe Munster's tail gunner tends to drift in field, and he goes straight through that, and he's over, has the pace to finish in the corner, and that's his hat-trick try. Convert for 34 points to 25. Munster then have a period of possession in the Saints 22. Haley gets them within 10 metres. Then Northampton turn the ball over. Under the old laws, there might have been a shout for the penalty for playing the 9, but I think the way it is now, I think it was fair and square. Saints thump the ball downfield. Ram wins the race to the ball, but the ball doesn't sit up for him, so he kind of overruns it, then has to come back. And by the time he has the ball in his hands, Munster have a few players back, and Tadhg is able to get over the ball and win a penalty. We then have a team all review for a possible high tackle on Butler by Pearson, but after review it looks fine, so we restart with a Munster scrum. Crowley then puts Patterson in space close to the line. Looks like he's in to score, but Pollock brilliantly managed to come from behind him and get him down, kind of turn him over. Real try-saving tackle there. The move breaks down. We come back for a penalty. Munster kick that to the corner. They, keep it in the forwards, close to the line. Another penalty advantage. Move it then to the backs, and Kilgannon goes over in the corner. Converted from out wide for 35 points to 32. Munster then come looking for a score to win it. They have the ball kind of between the 22 and the 10-metre line, and clock is in the red. But Pollock gets in there on the ball, turns it over. Saints get it off the field. Full time is 34 points to 32. An amazing game of rugby, really fitting for a game to decide who won the pools. And let's have a look at the stats before we quickly talk about each of the teams. So, first of all, tries, 5 tries to 4 for Northampton. So, try bonus point for both teams, and conversions 3 each, and 1 penalty to 2 penalties for Munster. Kicking success then 67% to 83. So, people might say, oh, Munster left some points out there, but Saints actually left more points off the kicking tee. Meters made then 499 for Saints to 375 for Munster. So Saints really doing well with ball in hand. Carries 161 to 149. Clean breaks 10 for them and 12 for Munster. So Munster finding those gaps really well. Defenders beaten 25 to 23. So again, you can see Munster's conversion rate for defenders beaten in the clean breaks, better than the Saints. Offloads then 6 to 13. Like Munster really keeping that ball alive. And even though Munster lost the game, you could see from last week and this week as well that their attack has been stuttering very much this season. Hasn't been helped with a lot of kind of, chopping and changing because of injuries, but it feels like it's beginning to come together for them now. Passes 166 to 191, possession 52 to 48, and territory 54 to 46. So Northampton, shading both of those and also obviously shading the final score as well. Onto defence then, 176 tackles to 181. So again, not much between the teams. 81% tackle success, 84. So two decent ones. We've seen a lot of teams in the 70s. And then turnovers one is 7 to 6 for Northampton, and the turnover that really counted in the end was that one from Pollock right at the end there. That basically sealed the win for them. Set pieces then, lineouts. 12 lineouts 1 to 9, 86% to 82%. So neither team, having all their own way in the lineout. No lineout steals though. Scrums then 5 for Northampton and 6 for Munster, 100% each. On to kicking then. Kicks from hand 24 to 20, and kick meters 561 to 541. So again, Northampton just about shading in, and it was fine margin in this game all the way around. But kicks retained 7 to 3. So Northampton really competitive in the air. Penalty goals then 1 to 2. Already talked about that. Onto the breakdown then. Rooks won 107 to 98. No rooks lost for Northampton, and 3 rooks lost for Munster, 96 to 95%, so very close between them. Then mauls, 2 mauls to 3 mauls, both 100%. And again, this maul meter gain thing doesn't make any sense, because almost every time the maul meters is given as exactly the same, because like Northampton had 2 mauls for 2 meters, and Munster 3 mauls for 3 meters. And no, that's not right. It's definitely not right, because Northampton, even the maul tried it, has scored. They went more than a couple of meters for that. So yeah, that's one of those stats that's kind of a bit weird. On to discipline then. 12 penalties conceded to 9, but although Northampton conceded more penalties, Munster conceded theirs, all in the batch, like 4 penalties that resulted in that yellow card for Coombs, and it was 1 yellow card to 0. And again, fine margins, something that certainly played into it. The fact that they had to play without Coombs for 10 minutes, and obviously as well on the back of that, conceding that try right at the break, that kind of completely changed the outlook of the game at halftime too. Okay, so let's talk about each of the teams. So Northampton, they started well, fell behind. Really good character, to make sure that they got that score right before the break. Then got the noses in front in the second half, kind of stretched out a little bit. Munster came back at them, but they had the wherewithal to make sure, that they didn't fall behind in those last couple of minutes and have to go chasing the game again. So I thought, they managed those last couple of minutes and, weren't giving away, penalties. So they were forcing Munster, to actually win the game rather than kind of losing the game themselves by giving away a penalty. So, it's a decent win for them. We've seen, like last year in the competition, they were semi-finalists, and now, pool winners. So they're going to have home advantage in the round of 16 and get through that home advantage in the quarterfinals. So they're a good bet, I would say, to make another semi-final as well. Especially given some of the play that they had today. So overall, I think really good from them. And, they're going to be a team that they're going to be tough. If somebody does want to cause an upset, they're going to have to produce, some really good rugby, I think, to knock them out. Munster, definitely improving. Still, though, not quite there. It's, you think it's only 2 points between the teams, but, a lot of the time that's the margin, right? Is when you're really on it, you're able to find that, whether it's a drop goal, penalty, or like an inspirational score at the end, whatever it is, to just about clinch games like this. It's no kind of coincidence that, the top teams are able to win narrow games. Like, look at the Springboks, they won their World Cup quarter-final by a point, semi-final by a point, and the final by a point as well. That doesn't happen by accident. And, so Munster at the moment, not quite at that level, but at the same time, they I think pretty much done enough now to qualify, for the quarterfinals. And it's about now where they're gonna be in the draw. But they are a team that if they are gonna, it's gonna be kind of touch and go, I think, at the moment. If they're gonna be home or away, because I haven't seen the other results yet. But if they're an away team, they're definitely going to be one that teams will want to avoid. They're going to be like a sticky draw for anyone who did have home advantage on them. If they are at Thomond Park, then you would kind of back them, I think, to progress at least to the quarterfinals. But this Munster team, if they're going to show some progression, I think they have to not just get to a quarterfinal, but be competitive in a quarterfinal and potentially reach a semi-final as well. If they're to do that, though, you can see there's still work to be done there. Yes, there's injured players to come back, but every fan of every team will tell you about all the injuries that their team have as well. But definitely seeing great signs of improvement from them, and it bodes well for them for the rest of the season as well. I think they're going to have a better second half of the season than they had a first half. But that's it from me. Let me know what you think down in the comments.